Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna. So, welcome everyone. Today we are celebrating Rath Yatra here, I think in Boston also it was celebrated.
Yes, Prabhu, we just attended that in the morning. We just came back at like 5 o'clock.
Oh,
Yeah.
Rath Yatra will be very heavy.
Yeah, and it was raining in the beginning, and then again it became, it stopped.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is very
Okay.
wonderful experience.
Huh?
It will
Oh,
be,
yeah. A lot of people came. About 900,000 people probably. Lot of, because it's in the middle. They take it through Boston downtown. So, and then it's in the garden, very central place in Boston. So they have prasadam, right? So everybody come for the prasadam. A lot of people came this time, and after 5 years, right, Prabhu, we are doing it again. So that's why. Last year it was there, but it was very small. But this year they did again fully, like before. Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
we celebrate Lord's like Krishna. He has like Jagannath ji is in the mood of Krishna. He is going to Vrindavan. So Chaitanya Prabhu, like Radharani is like inviting Krishna to Vrindavan from Dwarka. So that is the mood in which Rath Yatra is celebrated. So last time we are discussing Kapila's teachings, where Mother Devhuti has asked several questions to Kapila Dev basically explaining how one can come out of this conditional existence. So he spoke about the Bhakti Yoga and also the analysis of the matter. In the coming chapters, he speaks about like analytically analyzing using jnana with bhakti, jnana mishra bhakti. And then next chapter, he describes about yoga mishra bhakti, where yoga, ashtanga yoga is performed and with the limbs as meditation on Lord Vishnu. So in this chapter, the theme is to discuss about the like jiva in how he is in conditioned state, how he can attain liberation by analysis. So how jiva is situated in prakriti is analyzed here. Like it is the jiva that is situated in this world is said to be, he is situated in prakriti, in the modes of material nature, but he is not unaffected by this prakriti. So because jiva by nature is pure, by nature he is unchanging. So he is also not the doer of the activities. Actually, material nature only, everything is carrying. So just like one analogy is to give example for us. When sun is shining in the sky, when in the below some lake is moving, so only the reflection will get affected, but sun will not get affected. So similarly, jiva is situated in the body. So because of his identification with the body, so the identification, because of that identification he suffers. Otherwise, he is like not affected by the situation of the jiva in this material world. So it is mentioned that how a jiva only because of his identification with the body, That's why he thinks himself as a proprietor. Otherwise, he is not the like. Otherwise, he is not actually the doer. The doership of the jiva is analyzed even in Bhagavad Gita also. So generally, like whatever activity we do, jiva only has the role of free will. That means I want to lift my hand. So only I can desire. The rest of the things, everything is facilitated by Prakriti. So Prakriti means I have a false ego or I have an intelligence and the mind which is connected to physical body, to brain and other things. So the subtle body and gross body works together and act. So all these things are being provided by material nature. But as a jiva, I am not doing anything. I'm only free will, exercising my free will and expressing my will. Prakriti is providing everything. So this is how jiva is absorbed in the gunas. And he is, because of my false ego, I'm identifying with this body and I am thinking that actually I am doing. Everything is being carried by false ego, the prakriti. So it is one example is always given in Bhagavatam that when a person is in a dream state, so he is dreaming that one tiger is chasing. So tiger is chasing, but the tiger is in real world, it is not there. But still, that fear of tiger is there. So actual tiger is not there, but the fear of tiger is there. So this is like because he is identifying himself in that dream. So similarly, living entity, because he is identifying with his body, identifying with the ahankara, gunas and everything. So he is thinking that he is the doer. And this identification, because of this identification which is coming from the ahankara and prakriti, so this is the cause of samsara. It will not cease. In this life, we have a particular body, particular kind of environment around us, particular kind of situation, and everything. But in the same body, if we continue to identify with our body and ahankara, the same situation will continue in the next life also. Means next life also, depending on our desire, some particular body is given. So this samsara will uh, continue to rotate as long as we identify with our body, with our karma. As long as we are performing our karmas, which generates this body. So, although factually Jiva doesn't have a relationship with this Prakriti, relationship with this matter, relationship with this body, but that samsara will not stop as long as the living entity is as long as he keeps on meditating on the sense objects, thinking that he is the doer. So this is like exactly the dream situation. How in dream we identify that a tiger is chasing us. So as long as that identification is there, that till that time that material constantly that the samsara will not cease. So this is like everyone has this question. Like every jiva is a pure and matter is inert. Like how this combination took place. So that is the question. That is this is like answer that is given in Bhagavatam that because of Jiva's identification with Prakriti Ahankara, he is put in this material world. He is identifying with his body and he is rotating as it is given here. These are like three modes, and we are like puppets. So above three modes, Lord Krishna is situated. So these three modes are working under the direction of Krishna. And these are invisible puppets by which people are acting. So some people will be in Rajogun, where they will be like Rajogun, which makes them angry, it makes them do certain things. Some people will be in Tamogun, where they may perform some kind of activities like always in intoxication, sleeping, laziness. Rajogun is full of active but person's gratification and like that. So, and Sattvagun doing good activities. So these are the three modes which which are like invisible bonds which are making everyone doing. Because he is strongly identifying with this ahankara through body, with these three modes, he is thinking that he is the doer. So this is the constant theme. This is because of this identification, he is rotating in this material world. Otherwise, he is once he comes out of this identification, he is pure. He is not affected by gunas. That is the theme. So basically, like when water is there, water originally it is pure. But when it is mixed with mud, it will become contaminated. But again, that contamination can be removed by certain processes, and again it can be restored to original pure state. So Jiva is pure, but currently it is falsely thinking with this identification with samsara, ahankara, that he is this body, he is this body. But the original nature of Jiva can be revived. So how it can be revived? So that's why it is said that it is unaffected by gunas, means it can be revived. So because of his falsely identifying, it is like identifying with this body. But when it follows certain procedure, the that when he controls his mind, mind is the pivot. So when he controls his mind by performing bhakti, by yoga, by virakti, detachment, one can come out of this entanglement. So that is how one can come out. So therefore, he gives the practice of uh, Jnana Yoga, which includes some elements of Ashtanga Yoga, some elements of Bhakti Yoga. So all those qualities are mentioned, where one should practice the yoga process with Yama and Niyama, while regularly hearing the understanding that while regularly hearing the understanding, hearing about Lord, thinking that Lord is real. So, hearing the glories of the Lord. If someone thinks, even if he is jnani, even if he is a Ashtanga yogi, if he thinks that Lord's form is illusory, then he will not derive any results. Even if he is a jnani or yogi, he should always think that the he is the he should think that Lord is always real. He is the controller. Then only he will achieve his results. And one should hear about Lord's glories. And one should be satisfied with whatever comes on its own. One should eat with regulation. One should be living in a secluded place. He should be peaceful, friendly, compassionate, and determined. And he should not identify himself more with body or relatives. He should always constantly, these are the rules, qualities that a jnani, one who wants to perform jnana yoga, he should cultivate. That he should always think himself as he should develop knowledge how Prakriti and Purusha, they are all working together. And how Purusha is beyond the states of consciousness like waking and sleepiness. And he should see by his knowledge, he should analyze that the super soul is the cause of Prakriti. super soul, the Paramatma aspect of the Lord, which is pervaded everywhere in this universe, that Paramatma, Supreme Lord, He is only causing Prakriti. He is only revealing all the material elements to us. All our senses are able to perceive only because of the Paramatma, who is all pervading and who is situated everywhere, who is one without any second, who is the Supreme Master. So, how to understand that situation of the Supreme Lord? How to understand the situation of the pure Jiva? So, for example, we are situated in a room, and in our room, we are having some light. So, when we see that light coming from outside some window, coming in from a like some lake or from some water, reflection is reflected. By seeing on our wall, we can identify that this light is coming from somewhere from outside. So similarly, the like when we see there is consciousness in our bodies, so we understand that this consciousness is actually coming from the soul, which is actually when it is identifying with the body, with the ahankara, when it is reflected, it is coming in, that consciousness is coming in body, senses, and mind. So in this way, Jnani has to constantly analyze and understand that he is pure jiva, separate from this ahankara and body, mind, and senses. And when he further identifies that how this pure jiva is coming, and he should reflect that that energy is coming from above sun. So the jiva's energy is also and coming from one more source is Paramatma, Supreme Lord. So his energies only are coming in the form of both jiva as well as prakriti. So therefore he is the supreme source. In this way, by analyzing constantly, he should infer jiva, Paramatma, and prakriti. So although soul is pure, he is like covered by this that identification constantly meditate, he can feel the existence of the jiva. So at the time of deep sleep, we if we see like in a, for example, like there are said to be like four stages of consciousness we always undergo. That is when we are awake, so that is like Jagruti. When we sleep, so sometimes in sleep we get dreams. That is like swapna. And when we undergo deep sleep, that is called as sushupti, where we are not aware of our body also. We are like not aware of even our mind also. And then beyond these three states, there is said to be turiya. Turiya is beyond transcendental state. So generally, conditioned living entity undergoes these three states: Jagruti, Swapna, and Sushupti, and the states will continue. So during deep sleep, that soul is not having his connection with even the subtle body, but still, after getting up, he can think that, oh, I slept very nicely. So that means there is something within us which is feeling that I exist even during my deep sleep, although there is no connection with my body. So, in that sense, a jnani will understand that he is different from, differently situated even from subtle body also. Generally, when we analyze, it is a little bit easy to understand that we are different from this gross body, but it is very difficult to identify ourselves different from our mind, intelligence, false ego. So this analysis basically is giving that how can we identify ourselves different from even subtle body also. Like even after getting up from sleep, we think that I happily slept. Who actually happily slept? That person who is different from even our subtle body, because subtle body identification is not there. So in this way, constantly meditate that he is not this body and understand. And even at the time of universal destruction, that time also the jiva doesn't have any elements because those elements are all destroyed. So, but at that time also he feels, although he doesn't have body, because he has that mentality of lording it over nature, he feels himself lost. So it's not liberation at the time of universal destruction. Although he doesn't have body, he feels himself unhappy because he wanted to enjoy, but there is no body to, there is no subtle body to enjoy. So therefore he feels lost. So again, that body is given for him. So, but also because of that, it is not actual liberation. But when it comes out of all this conditioning, that I do like conditioning of enjoying the matter. So that time, by that realization, we can come out of that, and we can come out of that ahankara and body. Finally, when he achieves the favor of the Lord, that time he can get liberated. So that is how a jnani will completely analyze. So after hearing the jnana, Devahuti again asked that in general, the living entity strongly identifies with Prakriti. And Prakriti also, Maya also doesn't leave living entity. So both are attracted to each other. So if both are attracted to each other, so how can a living entity can attain liberation? Because living entity wants to enjoy, so therefore he is identifying with the body. With Prakriti, Maya Shakti, it is also like kind of binding the jiva. So this will continue, goes on continue. Is there any possibility of liberation for that living entity? So even if some people, some may think that themselves liberated, or he may come out of that identification, but again he may get identified with the body. So again he may get, he may develop the desires. So that will, fear of reappearance of samsara may be there. So, so how can we be situated safely in the platform of liberation? So like that, Devahuti asked. So Kapilidev, in order to answer that, he recommends to practice Tivra Bhakti, intense practice, along with Jnana and Yoga. So he says that one should perform bhakti for a long time without desire for any results, which purifies the heart and is which one should perform according to their occupational duties. And one should also practice the elements of jnana, like understanding the elements by strong renunciation, yoga performed with austerities, intense concentration on the Lord. In this way, when we gradually practice all these things like seriously, so that time the jiva slowly the influence of prakriti will be removed and he will be situated in transcendence. So this is how a jnani should practice. And he like the jiva, when he sees, when he understands what is the fault in enjoying this prakriti. Bhukta bhoga parityakta. When he try to enjoy this prakriti, he understands that there are several faults in this enjoying this prakriti. Drishta doshat and nityasha. It is very temporary. It will give rise to uh, suffering later. Any kind of enjoyment has a both flip side and wrong, like both sides it has. If someone is enjoying sense gratification, that will lead to misery later. So he understands bhukta bhoga parityakta. Therefore, he doesn't have any inclination to enjoy further. Because Drishta Dosha cha Nityashaha, because he is able to see the faults in enjoyment, and he is able to situate himself as a soul separate from this body, and how he is the controller. He is like Ishvara, who is different from this Prakriti, so capable of discrimination, and he is situated in his own situation. So therefore, he will not get entangled. How analogy is given that a dream we are identifying with our body, one may be suffering because of line chasing, but when a but the person when he awakens, that person he will not be suffering from the dream. So similarly, a person who is identifying with this body through ahankara, he will suffer. But when he gets realized that he is not this body, he is an awakened person, so he will not get suffering. So, and therefore, once he is awakened, the, the Prakriti will not harm that person who is always fixed in the supreme law, one who knows the elements and one who is enjoying in the soul, self, rather than in the body. So in this way, Prakriti cannot harm that particular soul who is beyond, who has crossed, who is like kind of awakened person. So such yogi, when he is situated, he engages many lifetimes in that meditation on Atma, and he is completely get detached from everything in this world, even from achieving any planets in this world, including Brahmaloka and other lokas. So, and he understands the ultimate truth, and by that, by my mercy, he finally achieved his kind of liberation. So he is always under my shelter. Having attained that position, he will not have any doubts that he is this body, he is situated as the Atma, and that yogi, having achieved my abode, he will never come back. So in this way, yogi's heart will no longer move towards enjoyment, which are uh, which which uh, which may bind other persons. But when he is finally situated in that liberation, he is not even afraid of death. Death can also, it will not have any uh, death will not have any effect on this kind of yoga. In this way, by practicing Jnana Yoga, a yogi can achieve liberation. So that he mentioned. But Jnana Yoga is very difficult to practice. So that he, because it requires, as we have seen, lot of difficult analysis, lot of difficult understanding, difficult practice, and one should situate alone and separate from everyone. In this way, it is very difficult. That Jnana Yoga, the Jnana Yoga should be accomplished by Bhakti elements and Yoga elements. So then only that will give results. So that is one yoga he discussed. Now in this chapter, he describes the Ashtanga Yoga, one of the another yoga that a yogi can perform. So Ashtanga Yoga contains the limbs of eight-limbed yoga. So first five limbs are like Yama and Niyama. So they the rules and regulations in Ashtanga Yogi should practice. So that he will narrate. So what are the rules and regulations that one should follow? One should follow one's Varnashram Dharma according to his own best ability. We should avoid sin. We should never perform any uh, adharma. We should never perform any adharma. And and one should be satisfied with whatever comes according to one's own accord. Satisfaction is also very important. So whatever it comes by our previous karma, that should be satisfied, and one should worship the uh, protest, like worship the people who knows about the Lord. And, one should avoid those duties which will lead to material attachment, and one should get attached to those duties which will lead one to towards liberation. One should eat pure food in moderate quantities and always live in a secluded, peaceful life place. So Ashtanga Yogi has to live in some peaceful, secluded place. One should practice non-violence, truthfulness, avoid theft. One should accept only what is necessary, practice celibacy, austerity, cleanliness. One should study the Vedas and worship the Lord. One should observe silence. One should, these are the rules, yama and niyamas. Now, after yama and niyama, next stage for Ashtanga Yoga is asana. Asana is one should start practicing sitting in a proper steady posture. So where he can meditate. So after the asana, pranayama, one should master, control their breath. And one should also practice pratyahara. Pratyahara means withdrawing the senses from material objects. So that is called as prati ahara. Ahara means food. So like sense objects are the food for the senses. So therefore we should withdraw his mind from sense objects. So after practicing these 5 limbs, first 5 which are leading to, at that stage he can start practicing meditation. So that meditation has 3 stages: dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. So for meditation, one requires a dharana ashraya. That means what object one should meditate. So an Ashtanga yogi should meditate on, like the Ashtanga yogi should meditate on the form of the Lord, or universal form of the Lord, as mentioned in second canto, second chapter. So he should meditate on a dharana ashraya. So taking the clue that he should meditate on the form of the Lord, Kapil Dev elaborately describes the form of the Lord. So by practicing that meditation on the form of the Lord, by dharana, it removes all the sins. So the effects of dharana is mentioned that dharana, it removes the contamination. So by pranayama, all the faults in the body will be removed. By dharana, all the sins in the body will be destroyed. By pratyahara, one can, like one's association with sense objects will be destroyed. By dhyana, one destroys some uncontrollable desires, like attraction and repulsion. This way, he will be freed from the modes. So these are the different effects of meditation. So while meditating, one should focus on the Lord. So how one should meditate when by practicing. So that, in order to describe the form of the Lord, is elaborately described. So this is from, like Ashtanga yogis, they need to meditate on the form of the Lord. Bhakti yogis, they always need to meditate, hear, and chant about the glories of the Lord. So Bhakti yogis also has to do smaranam of the form of the Lord. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Vishnu. So this third limb of bhakti, smaranam, in order to highlight Kapila Dev, that even a strong yogi also need to meditate on the form of the Lord, and devotees also need to meditate on the form of the Lord. So he elaborates the description of the form of the Lord so that people can meditate on the form of the Lord. So this is the section in Bhagavatam where the form of the Lord is more vividly explained. So this is very famous section where one can read again and again to meditate on the form of the Lord. Okay, so we spend some time to understand to meditate on the form of the Lord, because while hearing also one can meditate on the form of the Lord, while speaking also one can meditate on the form of the Lord. So this is like we are performing devotional service while reading all these subjects. प्रसन्नवदनाम्भोजं पद्मगर्भारुणेक्षणं नीलोत्पलघनश्यामं शङ्खचक्रगदाधरम्. So this is the form of the Vishnu that one yogi has to meditate. So his face is prasanna vadana. It is very pleasing and it is like a lotus. How beautiful lotus. Similarly, the Lord's face is so beautiful. And his eyes Padma Garbharunekshanam. So just like the lotus flower in the in between, it has a red color. Similarly, Lord's eyes are having red lotus eyes. And Neela Uppala Dalasham. So just like there is a Neela Uppala, blue lotus. So similarly, his complexion is Dalashama, and he is holding Shankha Chakra Gada Dharam. In this way, the yogi dharana means initially he meditates on the overall form of the Lord. So dhyana means he meditates on the limb by limb form of the Lord. Therefore, first dharana, the overall form of the Lord is described. In the next section of the dharana, the dhyana section, limb by limb form of the Lord is described. So many devotees remember those verses and offer them before the Lord. So Lasat Pankaja Kinjalka Peter Kausheya Vasasam. So his dhoti, his dress is Pita Kausheya. It's like silk cloth with yellow cloth, yellow silk cloth. How it is situated? It is Pankaja Kinjalka, just like a lotus. In between, it has a firmament, which is like very shining. So that that golden color, and which is like shining. So that is the dhoti that he is wearing. And Srivatsa Vakshasam Braja. On his chest, there is always the Srivatsa situated. Kaustubhamutta Kandaram. Kaustuba is situated on his neck. So this is like complete form. And Mattad Vireva Kalaya Paritam Vanamalaya. He is wearing a Vanamala garland. By whose fragrance, all the bees they get attracted. They are sounding. And Paradha Haravalaya. He has a beautiful Haravalaya Kirita Angada Nupuram. He has like Paradhya means very costly, very beautiful. So all his ornaments, very, very highest, valuable, priceless, like hara is necklace he's wearing. Then valaya is bracelets on the different places like hands and hands. Crown, kirita is crown. Angada is armbands on where he will wear an arm. Nupura is the anklets. So he is wearing all these things. Kanchi Guna Ullasa Chroni. So his hips, they are shining with the chords of his belt, Hridayamboja Vistaram, is always situated in the lotus of the hearts of his devotees. Darshaniya Tamam Shantam Manonayana Vardhanam. He has very beautiful face to look into, which will increase the desires or which will increase the happiness of both the mind and the eyes of the onlookers. Such is the wonderful form of the Lord. Apichya Darshanam Sashvat Sarvaloka Namaskar. This is so beautiful, this form of the Lord to see, and he is Sarvaloka Namaskar, worshipped by all people. And one more important point it is mentioned here. Santam Vaisi Kaishore. The Lord eternally exists in the age of Kaishora. So that is 16 years of age. He will never grow old beyond 16 years. So that is why it is mentioned Santam Vaisi Kaishoro. Is always in the age of Kaishora. It is up to 16 years. And Vridya Anugraha Kataram. He is always eager to bestow his blessings upon his servants. So that is the disposition of the Lord. Kirtanya Tirtha Yashasam. So his glory is worthy of glorification. You can always remember. Punya Shloka Yashaskaram. So he increases the fame of his own devotees. To that Supreme Lord, one should always meditate. Dhyayet Devam Samagrangam. Dhyayet means one should meditate. Devam Samagrangam. So, all the full body of the Lord, one should meditate. Till what time one should meditate? Yavan Chavite Manaha. Till the point the mind does not deviate from the path or from the Lord, till that point one should meditate on the full form of the Lord. So in his own heart, when he is meditating, he will be filled with so much pure emotion. So with those emotions, he should meditate on the Lord, that he is always living in the spiritual world, as he is sometimes walking, sometimes sitting or sleeping, sometimes performing pastimes, which are very worthy of seeing. One should meditate on the form of the Lord previously, and also one should meditate on the activities of the Lord, thinking they are all real. So, with full of emotions in the heart. So, after doing this for some time, then when he achieves some little gain over concentration of his mind, so that he is able to meditate on the full form of the Lord, then one should focus on each limb of the Lord. So therefore, Kapil Dev starts narrating meditation on the each individual limb. So this is very like from the lotus feet, it goes to lotus feet. Some of the shlokas in this section, they are very famous. So it is mentioned that one should meditate on the dhyana of the lotus feet of the Lord. Sanchintayed Bhagavatar Charana Ravinda Vajrankushadharimuruha Lanjanadhyam Tungarakta Vilasan Nakachakravala Josna Virahajamah Hridayandhakara. So, Lord's lotus feet has several symbols, as you can see here. So, these are the symbols that are mentioned in Lord's lotus feet. So, when he's saying, Kapil Dev is saying that one should meditate on all these symbols. Sanchintayet Bhagavatas Charanaravindam. His feet itself is compared to lotus Aravindam, and it has the symbols of Vajra, which is situated here, Ankusha, which is situated here, Raja, situated here, Saroruha is lotus, situated here, So in this way, other symbols are also there. There is a barley corn, there is a straight line from here to here. There is this disc, the Lord, umbrella of the Lord. There is a cone, and surrounding it, this is jumbo fruit. And there is a swastik symbol in all the four directions. So this is how Lord's lotus feet is there. One should meditate that how this is how Lord is situated. On his left hand, there is conch shell here. There is some concentric discs are there. Arrow, bow is there without any string. It is like tight. So there is some grains. There is triangle, kumbha, and half moon and meena. So these are the symbols in the left hand. So by meditating on this lotus feet, what will happen? What will I gain if I meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord? So when one meditates on the lotus feet of the Lord, even the light also coming from the nails of the Lord. So Tunga Rakta Vilasan Maka Chakra Vala Josna Vil. So through that light coming from the lotus fingers of the Lord, so it removes Mahat Hridaya, Mahat Druda Yandakaram. So the Andakara that is there in our heart, the ignorance that we are identifying with this body, so that will be removed by meditating on the lotus. So these are like souls of the lotus feet that meditation is given. Now, a little bit above. So, like above the feet that he is mentioning. Yachaucha nisrishta sari pravaro dagena pitena mudnyadikritena shiva shivobu dhyaturmana shamadashaila nisrishtamashna dhyaye chiram bhagavatas charanam. One should meditate that on the lotus feet of the Lord, the glories of that lotus feet is mentioned. That the water coming from this lotus feet, the Ganges, the Shiva, Lord Shiva, he takes on his head. So therefore he becomes purified himself. So, and one who meditates on that lotus feet, the contamination which is compared to a mountain, the lotus feet also has Vajra, so it will act like Vajra to destroy those mountain of sins. That means all our previous lives sins, they will be immediately vanquished once one meditates on the lotus feet of the Lord. So therefore, Dhyaye Chiram, for a long time we should meditate on the Lord's lotus feet. So that is how I mentioned. And then going little above, the dhyana, the calves of the Lord will come. So the calves, one should meditate that how Mother Lakshmi, Jananya, she is the mother for all the universe, and she is worshipped by the great devatas. That Mother Lakshmi herself massaging the lotus calves of the Lord. So in this way, one can meditate on the lotus calves of the Supreme Lord. How Lakshmi is serving them. Then going a little bit above from calves, the thighs, and then there are hips. So how to meditate on the thighs and hips? So when he is like he travels on his carrier Garuda. So while traveling, he places his thighs on the top of Garuda. So therefore, he is situated. One can meditate on those thighs. And also, these thighs are the powerhouse for this whole universe. So one can meditate on the thighs. And on the hips, there is a shining yellow color. So yellow dhoti, which is like very shiny. So that one can meditate. So after hips, one can meditate on the navel, which is the actually from Garbhodakshina navel. This whole universe has come, like a lotus has come on the top of that Brahmaji is situated. So now Navi, Lord's lotus navel, one should think that from this only the universe has come. So, and going little above, there is a beautiful hari, or a beautiful garland above, and his beautiful nipples are there. And the we should meditate on that nipples which are like shiny, and the hara which is glittering on those nipples. So in this way, one should meditate on Lord's hara, two nipples which are like emeralds shining, and which are the light coming from pearl necklace is reflecting on that. That is how one should meditate on the nipples and pearl necklace. And then one can meditate on the Vakshasthala part of the Lord, where Mahavibhuti of the Lord, which is Lakshmi Devi, the potency of the Lord, she resides. And when one meditates on that, the mind and eye of the meditator, it will increase with their pleasure. So in this way, one should meditate on the Kaustuba Mani, Mani's Kanta, which is respectful by all the living entities in this world. So, community meditation, and then his arms, how arms, while in the form of Ajita, while chanting the lotus, while chanting the Mandara mountain, these arms, the armlets on that arms, they are getting shiny. So in this way, one can meditate. And these arms are the power source for all the devatas. So in the arms, there are weapons. One should meditate on the weapons also. Dasha Sataram Asasya Asahya Teja. This Sudarshan Chakra is there. Shankha is there. And also lotus is also situated. This way one should meditate on the features. One more feature is Kaumodiki, the club the Lord is carrying. It is when it is hard, when it hit the demons, they die, and there is some spots of blood on it. And he is also wearing mala, Vajayanti mala, which is always surrounded by bees. So in this way, one can meditate on the Vajayanti mala. And his Kaustuba jewel is also situated on his neck, which represents Jivatam. So Jivatatva is also represented by Kaustuba, that one should meditate. So now going a little bit about the face. For face, 4 verses are mentioned. So he is always looking lovingly towards his devotees. So therefore, one should meditate on the Vadana, face of the Lord. And when his kundal, they are shaking, they are shining on his kapola, and his Udara Nasa, his raised nose, we can meditate. And this is a beautiful face of the Lord, we can meditate. And his lotus eyes, they are similar to lotus, eyes are similar to Meena, and surrounded by several lotuses, like his cheeks. His face is like a lotus. His cheeks are like his face is like lotus. So in between the lotus, Meena, the fish, they move. So in this way, you can meditate on the lotus face of the Lord. And it also has raised nose, and that one can meditate. And when one meditate in its form, one should also the person who is meditating, it increases his pleasure while meditating. So in this way, one can meditate on the lotus space. So his glance is always removes tapatraya. One should meditate on the glance of the Lord, which is always removing all the tapatraya in this world. And one should also meditate on that glance is always very, very pleasing to see us. And it can dispel all the three miseries, and he also smiles with affection, so which always bestow great mercy. So that smile is again mentioned. Asam hare ravanata chidaloka tivra shokashru sagara vishoshana matyudara sammohanaya virachita nijamanyasya brahmandalam krite makaradvajasya. So his smile is such that it will remove all the shokashru, the shoka of this world, it will remove. Shokashru sagara. There is an ocean of tears filled with, like one can think that this material world is so suffering it will give, and there is an ocean of grief one would have shed. So in the several lifetimes. So all that ocean of suffering will be removed when one meditates on the beautiful smile of the Lord. And one should meditate on the brew mandal, that is the eyebrows of the Lord, which are very beautiful, which are, when one meditate, the lust in one's heart will go away. So to remove lust, it is advised to meditate on the eyebrows of the Lord. So in this way, one should meditate on again the face of the Lord, which is always smiling, and while smiling is a oshta, like his lips, one can meditate, and in the lips when he is smiling, in the lips there is a beautiful row of teeth which are like appearing like a jasmine buds. So in this way, one should completely meditate on the form of the Lord, and one should not deviate from there. So by meditating on that form of the Lord, the yogi will achieve love of God. The mind will get detached from all the material contamination. Finally, he will be able to realize the Lord and see himself as different from the body, part and parcel of the Lord. So in this way, he completely being situated separate from the body, he simply takes charge of his body. So in this way, by meditating, the yogi will realize both Jiva and Bhagavan, seeing Jiva as different from Bhagavan. And he sees super soul in, once we realize super soul in himself, he will be able to see the presence of the Lord in all other living entities also. So in this way, he practices this Ashtanga Yoga. By practicing for a long time, he conquers the Maya, and he will be situated in devotional service. In this way, the Ashtanga Yoga practice is also mentioned. So again, in this chapter, later chapter, Bhakti Yoga is again mentioned because Mother Devahuti has to practice this Bhakti Yoga. So we'll discuss that later. So today we have discussed how Jnani analyzes everything and how a yogi has to follow the process of Ashtanga Yoga, and how at the end, by meditating on the form of the Lord, he will achieve liberation. That we have discussed. So we'll continue our discussion with the Bhakti Yoga section again. And then there is a section of karma where how people are suffering in this samsara. That is elaborately discussed. So we'll stop here. If anyone wants to add any comments, otherwise we can go. So, anyone has any comments? We'll end here. We'll continue our discussion next week. Thank you very much for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.